Kobe, do you know what the best diet is?
No, Barry.
Uh,
What's the best diet?
we elves have figured out that the best diet is nothing but carbohydrates and pure high octane sugar. That's how we live so long. Oh Jesus. What's going on, guys? My name is Barry,
This is Colby.
and this is Who Watches This. Boom, 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 boom.
Theme music.
Welcome 2024 Christmas month.
Yeah, we're finally in the holiday season.
Ugh. At work, I've been in the holiday season since I started in September. We've been selling nothing but Christmas stuff. It is insane how much people love Christmas.
Yeah, yeah. I'm in the convention industry, and so everybody who wants to do conventions to sell product has already done them to get them out. So like before Thanksgiving, and
Yeah,
so December is like our slowest month, so it's nice.
yeah, that
It's
that's
the first time I haven't worked retail where like it's retail's always like don't even ask for a day off between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
right. These are blackout dates. All
Yeah.
right. I don't care. Santa's not real. Oh man, today's a fun one. I'm surprised I've never heard of this movie. How did you come about this?
I when it first came out I saw like previews and stuff for it, and uh, for some reason just it didn't catch my attention. I didn't watch it. um and then just kind of as I was like started to look through, like, try to be something a little. There's so many Christmas movies out there, and like I, so many of them are like basically like the Hallmark movie. It's like, hey, a little love romance, and you know,
It's always the same Hallmark like plot line too. It's like girl goes back to her small town, meets up with like her, childhood crush.
right, right,
Every Hallmark Christmas movie that's a rom com, it's basically the plot of Sweet Home Alabama. That's basically all it is.
right. Or she was the awkward girl when she left town, and now she's successful and she's
Yeah,
come back. Will the cowboy still like her?
yeah. Oh, like hey, hey Jenny, I had to take over my dad's orchard farm, and I think we're gonna have a good yield, but I still need 50,000. And and uh
Exactly.
and there's this pie competition, and if I could win that, it's gonna give me exactly $50,000 on the dot. And then you find out, Jenny, you're dating the guy that's trying to buy my dad's orchard.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Your fiance
Yeah.
is the bank manager who's trying to foreclose on me. Yeah,
Right? Yeah, or
yeah,
like he's like the real estate tycoon that's trying to turn my dad's orchard into a resort. How could you, Jenny?
yeah. So I'm like kind of always look through, and I'm always trying to find a fun Christmas movie that like doesn't fall into that necessarily into that category, and you know they're either like you know super popular, and so we kind of always try to like look for the underdog
Yeah.
movie, the underappreciated.
And it's
So
really
kind of like,
strange to say that about a Mel Gibson movie.
hey, right?
Yeah. Everyone's like, "Oh, I
Uh,
know what movie you're talking about now."
but yeah, I'm always kind of always trying to look for something that's a little bit different, a little bit, or it's a musical. Sorry if it's popular and it's a musical, I still love it. But so yeah, so like this kind of just kind of popped into my head, and I was like, let me rewatch the trailer for that. And then as I did, I was like, why did I not want to see this when it came out? Like, it looks
It was COVID
very
year.
intriguing.
Yeah, but it was like COVID year, so you're like it didn't feel like Christmas because of COVID,
And that it's a possibility.
right?
Possibility.
All right, let's let our fans know what movie we're going to be talking about today with our Rhyme Fest Holiday Edition. All right, Cole's a
Ding 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 ding. Ding.
all right, coals abound for all the bad kids. A naughty boy doesn't like it and orders a hit. He contracts a naughty boy, all grown. He still holds a grudge for Santa, though. Unfulfilled promises. And holds people's dreams hostages. How will Santa hold off this villain from a comic book of Batman? We'll find out in 2020's holiday movie Fatman. uh, yes. We are going to be talking about the 2020 movie Fatman starring Mel Gibson and Walter Goggins, right?
Right. And like I have always been kind of familiar with Walter Goggins, but he's always kind of been the I recognize that face guy.
Yeah.
But between this and now, Fallout came out, and
And
like he became
yeah.
superstar in Fallout.
And he had a show for I think 3 years where he played like a divorced dad.
Oh,
Yeah,
hmm,
that I actually watched a couple of episodes. I was like I kind of like him cuz okay, so like throughout his career thus far until very recently, Walter Goggins has always played like the ratty villain,
right.
like
Yeah,
never the main guy, but he's like the henchman of the main boss.
uh, that's a great way to say it. Yeah.
Right? But like he's such a good actor in those roles, and I was always like, man, I would kind of like to see Walter Goggins play like, in other roles, and I that's why I like it because he wouldn't be like the conventional actor playing divorced dad trying to find love.
Yeah.
And
No, that makes sense.
and that's why the show that he was on was so good. And then obviously, I mean, he was in Fallout, and he was like he felt more like an anti-hero, less than like a villain, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, because you definitely felt for him.
yeah, exactly. Like you see the backstory and everything, and you're like, I get it. It's been like what 200 plus years. Spoiler alert for anyone that hasn't watched Fallout. But he's just trying to find his like wife and kid,
Right. Right.
who he hopes is still alive in a
Yeah,
little
I think he
container.
was like perfect choice
Yeah,
for that. Like he really fit that role really well.
and then obviously Mel Gibson is he's I think he's fine in this movie. I feel like he didn't really have to do too much range for his role in this as Chris Kringle.
Right. I liked him in this though.
Yeah, I did really enjoy him, but like what kind of stole the show for me, and it's not just like her as an actress, but also like the part that she's playing as Miss Kringle. I
Yes.
forgot what did you
M-
do you have the
M-
actor's name?
Marion Jean Baptiste.
Yeah, I was like, this is probably my favorite iteration of Mrs. Santa Claus I've ever seen. But let's get into let's get into talking about this movie before we talk about everything else. This movie starts off kind of surprising for me. It starts off with this child man. It's the oldest young boy I've ever seen.
I right. Definitely like prep school kind of
Yeah, like yeah,
I, junior high maybe. Maybe
yeah.
he's
But I don't think he's even going to a prep school because like we see him. Okay, so like we see him like in his home with his grandma. He seems kind of sweet to his grandma, but like This kid is in a full suit and tie
Right.
at home.
Yeah, and he comes from like a rich family, and the grandma's like, oh, I just talked to your dad, and he's not going to be home for Christmas. Um,
Yeah, but
but the kid's like,
yeah, go ahead.
I was saying, like, and the kid's like writing his letter to Santa.
I know, but he seems like a sweet kid to his grandma, right? Because he's like, he's like, oh, do you want me to get you milk? Because she's like she has like a respirator on
Yeah,
to
yeah,
breathe, so she's like old money, like grandma, like a Rockefeller type. But then as soon as he goes downstairs, he talks to his maid kind of rudely.
oh right, yeah,
She's just like,
and it's not at this point. It's like you could tell he's spoiled, but it doesn't seem that bad.
yeah,
It's a little later he gets more and more spoiled brat.
yeah, very malicious, right? But like,
Yeah,
it seems like he's getting ready for a school project because he has like he on his like on his blazer he has all of his like first place ribbons
yep,
and everything, and then like you see like the other maids kind of carry this huge like model out,
yeah.
and then so like after he tells like his maid like go get my grandma some warm milk, we see him at school at the science fair. What?
And he's like, yeah, he's kind of talking to the judges, and he's given an educated breakdown of his project. Um, Definitely seems, top class.
Yeah, he seems like he's very well spoken. It's almost like a business presentation. Like this kid is like it feels like he should be like a boarding school, right?
Right. Yeah.
For like super rich kids, but he's just like at this local school and no one's really dressed up. He's like the only one that's like in a suit and tie. And
Yeah.
so like, they go to like award people, but then he sees someone else getting awarded the first place trophy, a ribbon.
Oh, and he is not pleased.
Oh, yeah, he is livid at this point. And like he even goes up to the judges to the when they're talking to the girl, and then like the principal kind of pushes him into like the photo with the girl to take the photo.
Right. And she's like, oh, you got the runner-up ribbon. Hold it up for the camera.
Yeah.
And he's definitely like, I think there's a mistake. Did you give me the wrong ribbon?
And like the girl seems like she seems very pleasant. She's like, "Oh, this is so crazy. I beat like the four-time champ." Not like in a gloating way, but she was just like she felt so accomplished, right?
Right. Yeah.
Sweet girl. She's like, "Have a Merry Christmas. I'll see you after the break."
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like this kid makes a call to somebody, and then we cut over to Walter Goggins' character. He's credited as the skinny man, and so like
Right. He didn't really even get a name, did he?
yeah, that he's just credited as skinny man, and then all of a sudden we see like a gentleman coming into like some sort of shady looking shop, and he has like this baseball with him, this baseball bat, and he goes in there and it's Walter Goggins. He has like this whole like setup of like looking at this item or whatever. It looks like he's almost doing like he looks like a fence, like for like
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then they're having this conversation, and it's kind of like, what is this conversation about? And Walter Goggins is like, oh, you were going to be some sort of athlete. You're going to be some sort of pro athlete. And then the guy is kind of spilling like, well, yeah, I wanted to be, but, sometimes things don't turn out that way.
Right. Yeah. Like in high school, I blew out my ACL and it kind of
Oh,
stopped playing baseball.
yeah, but, I always had to dream about making it to the pros. And then Walter Goggins goes, how much is your childhood dream worth? And what does the guy say?
He's like, my son is in the hospital
No,
and
no, I think his son wants to go to Disney
what
World.
to go to. Yeah. And he's like, so I'm looking for like 2,000 to so
So-
we could send him off.
and he's like 900. It's like less than half.
And that's not even gonna barely gonna pay for the plane ticket. Can we go up anymore?
Yeah.
900, or you could take your bat and go.
Yeah. And so, yeah, no, the guy takes it. He takes the deal. Because, 900 is still better than nothing.
Right.
Right? And then he goes into, like, this vault that he has, and it's, like, filled with, like, just random stuff.
Right. Toys, basically, but yeah,
Yeah.
like kid stuff.
Yeah, but it's, like, and, like, you can suppose that it's, like, it's filled with people's, like, most treasured gift from when they were kids.
Yep. And everything's like in a bag, like it's all bag. It looks almost like a police, like
all evidence locker, right?
evidence locker. Yeah.
And you're like, is this guy just like buying people's like most precious items? And so I was like, in my head, I was like, is this supernatural in some way, right?
Right. But he does in the conversation. He asks, he's like, when did you get this? And he's like, oh yeah, Santa gave it to me for Christmas when I was a kid.
And he's like, okay, this is the item, right?
Yeah.
And then and after that, we cut to Mel Gibson as Kris Kringle. He's like shooting cans in his like farm, and his wife comes out. They have like a small conversation, but Chris has to get ready to deliver Christmas presents.
Yep.
And but before he does that, he goes into town. He checks his like mailbox because Chris, Mr. Kringle needs a mailbox, a PO box. And he goes to
because you don't want people delivering mail directly to your
to your home,
to your house.
Exactly.
That's just asking for trouble.
But he goes to a bar. He opens up his like residual check, and
yep,
not happy.
No.
Right. Oh, I'm sorry. But before that, as he's driving into town, he's listening to the radio and he's hearing like these atrocities that are being committed by children.
Oh, right. Yeah. Kids dropping bowling balls off of an interpass and
which has happened. Like that's an actual.
Right.
That happened to someone. Like someone got killed, I think. Which is like, gee, like God. And so like Chris, he doesn't look optimistic about where children are going.
Right.
And, he feels like he doesn't have the same jolly feeling that he would during this time.
Right.
Okay? So as he opens up his residual check in this bar, the bartender is talking to this guy and she's like, give me 5 minutes so we can go.
Yeah.
In the back, and she goes to the back, and Chris leans over to this guy, and he's like, "Mike, what are you doing here?"
Right, and he's like, "How do you know who I am?"
He's like, "Mike, I think what you're gonna do is you're gonna get in your truck. It's only gonna be a 12-hour drive,
right,
to Nicole and the kids."
Yeah, it's like, Mike, you and I, we're both faithful men to our wives, and it's only a 20-hour drive from here to get home to see them at Christmas.
And he's like, I've known Sandy since she was a kid, and she's never really believed in the sanctity of marriage.
Yeah,
but I don't want you to be led astray. And so he like, and then Sandy comes back and she's like, where's the hot guy that was here? And
yeah, how come every time you're in here the man I'm talking to ends up leaving
and I end up going home alone?
Yeah.
He's like,
I guess I'm just bad luck.
I'm just a jinx. And then when Chris goes home, he gets met by his wife, but he also gets met by the American government.
Yep.
And so the American government, he talks to them. He's like, "Where's the rest of my check?" And he's like, "Chris, like in your
Right, and
contract.
they kind of give him the well, since you're subsidized, as you're giving away basically free toys, so the government is, kind of giving you a stipend,
Yeah,
uh, but the amount of toys you've been making in the last few years have gone down, and so you're no longer hitting the minimum that we expect you to make, and so that's why your check is only half of what you expected.
he's like, well, it's not my fault that a lot of kids deserve coal, you know. And I mean, he's right. But then, like this guy in a military uniform, I think his name is Captain or Commander Jacobs,
Yes,
is
yeah,
trying to, to get a contract going with them.
right.
Because what's more like secure than Santa's workshop? And
He's like, hey, it's like, yeah, you the first 2 months of the year, is your slowest time. We could procure your services,
he's like, no.
and that'll help cover that amount of money you're not making.
And he's like, no, we don't do that.
Yeah,
And so he talks to,
that we're not here for the money.
yeah,
We're here for the smiles.
yeah. He says that, but like Mel Gibson's like, he's so gruff,
Yeah. Yep.
and it almost sounds like a threat. Oh yeah, and so like yeah, they leave, and he talks to his wife Ruth Kringle,
Yep.
and she tries to like talk to him about it, but he's like, well, we don't have to get the money from the American government.
Right. He's like, oh, there's a lot of people who owe me favors, so I can make some phone calls.
We can
We
try
could
to
do a little
yeah.
deal with somebody that's on our term.
Yeah, but as Chris makes phone calls to everybody, everybody is outsourcing.
Yep.
But like he sounds so sad about it. He's like, "Well, why would they want our services when they got kids working 12-hour shifts and only making enough to buy 2 donuts?" And so like he's kind of disheartened, but then Ruth is like, "Hey, listen, you got a job to do tonight." And
What? Because it's Christmas Eve. Yeah.
it's Christmas Eve, and so we'll come back round to it in the morning.
Yeah.
And so what's it called? One of the elves comes on through the intercom, and he's like, "The sleigh's all ready to depart, sir."
At your pack.
Yeah,
Deer are hooked up.
yeah. And so Chris decides to go to work. Meanwhile, our old young boy, I'm gonna call him Man Boy. He calls Walter Goggins. And what does he call him for?
Well, right. Well, because so he calls and uh and has him go pick up the girl who won the the trophy for the ribbon for the science fair.
And and they so like before Manboy goes downstairs, he sees his grandma and he kind of swipes off 2 checks.
Yeah.
And he okay, only there's no reason for people to have light boxes. That's the device that he uses to trace his grandma's signature.
Yeah.
Unless you're working with like photography or any kind of art editing, or you're gonna forge something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we go to the basement, and this young girl is tied up
Right.
in the
And
basement.
it's like the best walk. He's walking out of the basement. As he gets downstairs, he's like, "Maids, leave," and
Yeah.
they leave the house. And then he walks over and he takes half the cookies
Santa's
off
plate,
of Santa's plate.
and he goes down there, and it's basically the torture scene from Lethal Weapon 1.
Oh
It's
yeah,
it's the car battery, and he's like sparking this thing in front of her, and he's like, "You're gonna tell the judges that you cheated, and you
right.
don't deserve the first place ribbon."
You had parental help.
Jealous. This kid is jealous, and then he's like, "Or else."
Yep.
And then what happens after that?
So and then Goggins or Skinny Man
Yeah,
dr- just driving her home, and she's in the back of the car, and she's kind of like all freaked out, and he's talking to her like super
calm.
calm, but it's definitely like threatening calm, like
It's the
hey
scariest calm.
hey Susie, just remember, I know where you live. Don't tell your parents. Don't tell anybody about this. Make sure things that you get with the school.
Yeah, but he
You tell
goes,
them what happened.
but he goes, "I'm gonna kill your mommy. I'm gonna kill your daddy. Do you have a dog?" She's like, "Yeah." He's like, "What's your dog's name?" "Juju Beans." "I'm gonna kill Juju Beans too." It's crazy.
Yeah,
And so she leaves. I mean, like, and then she's like, "Don't worry, kid. You're gonna get a awesome present from Santa,
right.
and you're just gonna forget everything, okay?" And so yeah, and so she goes back in, and then Christmas morning happens.
Right.
You know, a nice way for this budget movie to do it. It's kind of just like, Chris goes to work and then he comes back. You don't really have to show everything. It's played out already, right?
Right. Right.
And Chris comes home though like ragged. He comes home and he has like his knuckles are all bloodied. He's been shot.
Yep. He's like, oh, some kids with a deer rifle took a couple shots at me. There's a couple holes in the sled that I'm gonna have to fix, and one winged me.
Yeah. And she is like, God, this is rough for Santa. And then like he gets into bed, he like kind of snuggles up to his wife, and then he kind of fades to black.
Right. Yep.
And, but then it's also morning at Manboy's house,
Yeah.
and he sees one gift that wasn't there last night.
Very excited.
But surprise, surprise, what is it, Kobe?
Lump coal.
And dramatically, he goes out with the lump of coal, he gets on his knees and like yells into the sky.
Like like it totally to me was like the like Worf from the Star Trek with like the death cry while he falls on his knees and he's like screams.
Yeah. It's like,
Oh.
and so he calls Walter Gog. He calls Skinny Man.
Yep.
And at this point, the Skinny Man's like, Jesus fucking, what does this kid want again? But he's
Right,
like,
and isn't it like it pops up on his phone as like a little brat or
yeah.
something like?
But hey, whatever to get that bread though,
Yeah,
because this kid is paying top dollar.
right. And he's like, I need you to kill Santa. And he's like,
What?
well, this is a big job. This is like,
It's a tall order.
yeah, people don't know where he lives. You
Yeah.
know, it's not even in this country probably. You know,
And so, like in my head, I'm like, does everyone know Santa's actually real?
so apparently in this, everybody knows Santa's real.
But like as Skinny Man is saying all this, he's like, "So what? You're not going to do it?" And he's like, "Oh no, I'm interested." And it cuts to his apartment as he's speaking to this kid, and he like the only soft thing about Skinny Man is that he has like this hamster
Mm-hmm.
that he's very sweet with. So I was like, okay, that's nice. But he also has in a case this Hot Wheel.
Yeah,
And where does it say it's made in?
His workshop.
right? So yeah, he's definitely on the prowl for Santa.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Chris has like gotten more rejections from other places. And so Ruth is like, maybe we do this contract just to keep the lights on.
Right, right. 1 year only. We'll just,
Yeah,
we'll
well,
do this, then we'll figure out how to make kids better
yeah, be
so we
kids
don't have to
again.
do it again.
Exactly, right? And so yeah, they end up having to do the contract, and he calls like he calls his elves back,
Yep.
and he's like, "All right, guys, listen. I know this is a little bit earlier than expected, but you know, sometimes we have to do some things, and hopefully, it won't weigh too heavy on us."
Right.
Type of
Yeah.
speech, right? And then so Captain or Commander Jacob comes in and he's turning this whole thing into a military operation. He's like, everyone will exit from the south exit. We're gonna go ahead and fingerprint everybody, and we're
Right.
gonna
Everybody's got a badge. You need to
yeah,
scan in and out.
we gotta cut the bells off your shoes because of the metal detectors.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's funny because like,
I did.
go ahead.
I was gonna say it's a really interesting because it's like the barn in the back of the farmhouse, and then like under the barn is like
The workshop.
it's like a factory.
Yeah.
It's not the typical Christmas movie Santa's workshop where everything is
Oh, it's like
all
bright.
fancy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
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 like
but it's not exactly too grungy either. Like there's plenty of space, but it just
right.
looks like a factory, like a
Yeah,
normal
yeah.
factory, right? But it's funny because like when they first see Santa, they start like stomping their feet, and then the bells keep going. But yeah, it totally turns into the military operation. Santa talks to Seven, who is like they don't reissue numbers for elves
Right, right.
because Seven was like, no, that would be disrespectful.
Yeah, 'cause he's like, this is Seven. He's our lead foreman.
Yeah.
And they're like, how come you're number seven? And he's like, well, we've been doing this a long time.
And 1 through 6 ain't here no more.
Yep.
But it doesn't seem like they're unhappy about it. Like they know Santa's intentions are, just to keep things going.
Yep.
Right, so they fall in line with everything, and the Santa's workshop is now contracted to create like motherboards for fighter jets.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you got to do what you got to do sometimes, right? But meanwhile, the skinny man is kind of just like losing his mind on how to find Santa until
Right. And he's watching, he's like, you see him, he's watching videos, he's reading like books. It's
he has a whole
like
Peking duck to himself, which I was like kind of jealous of. I was like, oh my
but
god, that looks
it
so
totally
good,
like
bro.
reminded me of like the people who are like, you watch the little documentaries or whatever, the people who are like trying to hunt down Bigfoot.
Yeah,
They've all like the sightings of
yeah,
him
all the
and
lore books.
the lore books.
Yeah.
Yep.
But then and as he's kind of like stuck, he's looking at this clip art of Santa,
Yeah.
and he's like, and he sees a letter to Santa, and he's like, holy shit.
Right.
So he,
Every kid writes a letter.
yeah,
Let's
and it gets to Santa.
Yep.
So he's like, oh, the post office, obviously. He ends up killing a postman. He ends up killing a
So he gets to
postman.
steal his uniform. Yep.
Yeah, and then he gets to the postmaster of like that city, and he's like, "Where's the fat man?" And then yeah, he ends up killing this postmaster after getting the information.
And the postmaster's like, we don't have an address.
Yeah,
Send it to him, but we have a PO box that all the letters eventually end up at.
in North Peak, Alaska.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Holy shit!" And so yeah, Skinny Man takes this long trip to he drives into Canada first, where he's
Right.
where he's like, "Oh, what are you here for?" What does he say?
Like, it's a hunting. Was it? He's gonna have some some for entertainment. Gonna be
Yeah.
hunting.
And he's like,
Gonna
well,
kill something.
yeah, she's like, well, do you have your WW 410? And he's like, yeah, I got my 410, my 520, my 680. And she's like, well, welcome to Canada.
Yeah, he is definitely prepared.
Meanwhile, we go back to the workshop. Santa's finally like in a better mood because he gets he's like waiting for that new check to come in.
Right. So he gets the check in, so he can pay the bills. He gets some thank you letters.
Yeah, he gets some thank you letters from some kids. It's great. He's feeling a little bit better. Meanwhile, Captain or Commander Jacobs is talking to all the elves in the mess hall
Yep.
where it's like nothing but like cake, like soda,
They're eating like full pies.
and like these elves are eating like they're goblins.
Yeah, yeah,
But hey, I get it. They're working around the clock, and like Seven is talking about their whole routine. They're like, oh, like because like Commander Jacobs is like, look at you guys. You guys need some protein, and he's like,
yeah.
no.
He's like, you guys need a little color in your face. If you ate some a little bit more balanced meal, you probably
Yeah,
sprout right up.
and he's like, no, no. We elves have learned that the best diet is carbohydrates and nothing but sweets. As he's like in his like cup of like orange soda, he's pouring in like sprinkles. And I was like, did Colby write this scene?
Yeah, it was definitely like straight out of it was Will Ferrell like in Elf, like that kind of sugar intake.
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, and then all we need is like a half hour nap after 8 hours.
Right. Yep.
And this is why elves live so long. And I was like, is that true?
Five five meals a day,
Oh,
and then three 30-minute break,
yeah.
and yeah, we basically work around the clock.
Yeah, it is. And I was kind of scared at that point because in my head I was like, is Captain Jacobs gonna try to take a whole bunch of elves as soldiers or something?
Hmm.
Because that would seem like the perfect soldier.
Right.
Someone
Right.
that just needs like a little 30-minute nap and he can keep being a soldier. Um, Meanwhile, the skinny man is still making his way. He's like doing all these pit stops. He stops at a animal shop, like a
Right.
pet
He
store.
get some stuff
His
for his hamster.
This adorable little hamster. But the lady there is like, you seem like a lizard person. Would you like a chameleon? Or oh, how about a snake? And what does he say?
He's like, well, apparently, like you don't listen very well.
He's like,
Like I told you, I had a hamster.
yeah, and snakes eat
Snakes
hamsters.
eat hamsters.
So why don't you shut the fuck up and get me what I asked for? She's like, okay. Like this woman is just trying to keep her pet shop alive.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what's it called? Meanwhile, like yeah, so they're back at the thing. Everything's kind of going well. Meanwhile, the skinny man he's getting close, but
Yeah.
but Santa skinny man gets to North Peak, Alaska, and he starts to kind of ask around.
Yep.
And he's like really good. This is like a super like salesperson technique, right? When he's talking to the postman or the postal worker at the office, he's asking questions. Like he's like, "Oh, me and Chris used to work together, and I just like lost his address, so I'm trying to get in contact with him."
Right. I don't have his contact information, but I remember like have his PO box where we used to send him stuff, but
Yeah,
I can't remember.
I can't remember
Did he?
his address. And he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, well, sorry, we can't give out that information.
And
Unfortunately,
then he's like I can't even give it to you because we don't even have it.
yeah, exactly." But then all of a sudden, Sandy comes in, and she's like, "Oh, you're looking for Chris? Oh, he comes into town sometimes." And then Walter Gog or Skinny Man asks, like, "Oh, is he still driving that green like that green Camaro or whatever.
Right, yeah.
And he's like, no, he now he drives like a red Ford, which
Yep. A red truck.
yeah,
Yep.
makes sense for Santa.
Totally.
And so now Walter Goggins or Skinny Man has to like he's camping out for Chris coming in. Chris, he tells his wife, "Hey, I'm gonna go into town, check the mailbox, and see after." Like he was like training a little bit on the boxing, but Ruth, he puts like some letters there from like good children, which kind of like
It, it-
picks up.
right, and it's even like not even just from kids. There's a couple letters with like a girl like, and it shows a picture of her as a kid getting a train, and then like she is like the conductor of the
Yeah,
train, and
there's
then
like a
there's that
guy that's
guy
like a
who's like,
professional swimmer or something like
yeah,
that.
and there was like a chef. There was like a little
Oh yeah,
kid play chef set, and
yeah.
then he's
He's like
like
a pro
getting his
chef
like,
now. Yeah.
yeah,
And so that picks him up. So he's like, all right, I'm going to go into town, see what's in the mail. And then he gets his check. Unfortunately, Walter Gog, or what's it called? The Skinny Man, he's there. He has like a sniper trained on him. Because he sees him go into the post office. But all of a sudden, like this big rig comes and blocks his view.
yep,
And so he follows him home.
right, because the movie would have just been over. That would have been just,
But he follows him home and he kind of like, he starts to make the plans of how to infiltrate the base. Skinny Man he's like John Wick.
oh yeah, yeah,
Right? Because
yeah.
he ends up getting onto the compound and he absolutely decimates all of like the people on patrol.
Right, because and it's interesting because it's you know he's just like, I'm going to follow him up there, and there's probably going to be some elves around. But then as he's getting closer, all of a sudden he's seeing like the little military posts, the the blockades on the little roads and stuff, because Santa's working with the military.
And so but then meanwhile Chris is you know cozying up to his wife and Chris has been trying to get some for the past 2 days. But
Yeah,
but,
since he saw some letters, he's been much happier.
well, yeah, but like the letters and him being happier is what Ruth wanted to see,
Yeah,
and
and there was in the sorry, back a little bit when the um, Captain Jacobs was talking to the elves. He was like, he's like, yeah, that's we eat all this sugar, and that's what keeps us young.
yeah,
Why we live so much longer than people do.
yeah.
And then he's like, is Santa or does Chris do the
Oh
same
yeah,
thing? And they're like, no, Chris stays young because of all the the joy
yeah,
of giving.
like the belief that the kids have of him and stuff like that. It's a
Yeah,
very like Tinker Bell's type of situation, right?
right. Yep.
And so like yeah, and so him and Ruth, she over knitted because she was a little anxious, but they decide to have a little after Christmas party.
A little snogging.
Yeah, but Skinny Man has now made it onto the warehouse, and he's like setting up bombs everywhere. But then an
Right.
elf sees it, and the elf knows what this is,
Yep.
and like flash like speed, he disarms this bomb. It was so cool to see because it's like it's craftsmanship. He knows these
Yeah.
elves know how to make anything and everything, and he knows a freaking pipe bomb when he sees it.
Right. It's like it's unscrewing a flashlight and taking the batteries out. It takes the whole bomb apart.
Exactly. No worries about the wires. Oh man, but then the Skinny Man starts popping off. He's like shooting everywhere in this warehouse. All the elves go to Protocol Yellow. Commander Jacobs is trying to fight off like the Skinny Man. Unfortunately, like when the elves finally get into the fallout or like the shelter, I was gonna say the fallout shelter. uh, yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, Commander Jacobs doesn't make it out.
Right.
But before Commander Jacobs gets killed, Seven gets to like the little call box,
Yeah, it
and
sends the little SOS to the farmhouse, so
yeah,
Santa knows.
Santa knows. He packs up. He has like his like No Country for Old Men gear. He has like a
Yeah,
six
he
he has like a
pulls
six
like the
shooter.
old briefcase out from underneath the bed,
Yeah, he has like a
opens
six
it up.
shooter and a 1911
Yeah,
handgun. And this is probably like, and then he sees the skinny man come out and Santa's waiting there for him.
yeah,
And this is the only time we ever hear the skinny man's name. It's like Jonathan Peter Smith or whatever.
right.
No,
That was that just about enough of you.
he's like, you wicked child.
He's like, oh, I didn't know if you'd remember me after all these years.
And yeah, and Santa's like, and he yells at Santa. He's like, "This is the only gift you ever gave me." And he pulls out the Hot Wheels,
Yep.
and then he's like, and then Santa is like, "There's limits to what I can do. I couldn't replace your parents for you."
Yeah.
And then, like, there's like a hint of sadness in what Santa's saying
Right. Right.
because like the weight of like his knowledge of like the good kids, but also why good kids become bad
Which, yeah.
is probably something he's had to compartmentalize after working thousands of years.
Right. And knowing that kids can become bad, can become good again, and then it's just like what path they choose. Yeah.
Yeah, and but Skinny Man's like, fuck you. And yeah, they have like this huge gunfight.
Right. Yeah.
Santa's able to nick Skinny Man in the shoulder and almost gains the upper hand. Or he does gain the upper hand against Skinny Man, right? Until
Yeah.
until he kicks up his little hidden Assassin's Creed blade and knifes
Yeah.
Santa.
Right. Because Santa eventually, because he's only got two handguns, he runs out of ammo. So then,
Yeah, but he's able to
then it
pin
has,
him down.
yeah. So then it becomes a hand-to-hand fight.
Yeah,
He's able to pin him down, get his skinny man's gun away from him.
yeah, and Santa is shown to be strong because earlier in the movie he picks up this crate of like I don't know gear or like
Oh,
material,
yeah.
which
Well, there's a handful of military
trying.
personnel trying to move it, and they can't. And he's just kind of like
Here's my
not
coffee.
easily,
Hold
but
my coffee.
yeah, but
I
he's
mean,
able
yeah,
to right the box.
yeah. But yeah, he ends up getting knifed up by the skinny man, and eventually, yeah, he shoots Santa in the head. I was like, oh my god,
Yeah.
But as the audience members, we know that he's gonna be able to regenerate,
We're certainly hoping.
right?
Because you did see that like when he's in bed with Ruth, he doesn't have a shirt on, and the gunshot from Christmas Day is almost completely healed up.
Yeah.
So
But then
you know that he's
he has powers. He's
he's got
supernatural.
power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Ruth comes up and yeah, shoots Walter or shoots the skinny man in the back. He
Yep.
ends up trying to kill Mrs. Kringle, but Mrs. Kringle's crafty. She's not.
Yeah.
This isn't her first rodeo.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Get-
She been around.
Yeah, gets him with the old behind the door trick, and just headshots this guy. And then like he goes out, she goes out, she cradles like Santa in her arms. The elves come out, and she's like, "He's okay. It's just gonna take a little bit more time." But Seven goes to Skinny Man's body, and he finds a little book.
Yeah, because throughout this whole thing, every time he got like
A contract.
a contract, yeah, he's writing it in the book, and he's a little anal. So like yeah, when he has the post office guy to write down, he's like the post office guy starts writing down. He's like, hey, what are you doing? Write it on a blank page.
And so yeah, and so they get that book, and it's it's kind of a naughty list.
Yep.
right? And so all of a sudden, we see Manboy's grandma getting a call from the bank.
And she's now just realizing that a couple checks have been loaded to the skinny man
Yeah, a
for a
lot of
large
money
amount of money, and she's like, "What? Where is this money?
going
I didn't
to.
write these. I need copies of these checks so I can verify my signature."
Yeah, and then Manboy takes grandma's fentanyl, her pills,
Yep.
her like painkillers, and he's like crushing them all up and putting it into the milk to
Right.
kill his grandmother. Oh, sorry, I did forget to say, like, Manboy did get a present from his dad, but it's like this, it's a teddy bear, and he's like, I don't know, 12.
You're right. Yeah,
It's
definitely not
yeah,
something that at that age you want for Christmas.
yeah. So
It's like your big gift.
yeah, huge resentment, this kid. And so, and as he's like loading up this milk to give to his grandma, laced with like a deadly amount of fentanyl, all of a
Right.
sudden someone comes knocking on the door, and the maid, she sees these two people, and she's like, "Oh shit." And like leads them into his room, and as she's closing the door, she like smiles. She's like,
Right. Because he starts off, he's like, "I told you I didn't want to be disturbed."
you like no habla English?
Yeah.
Gee, I
Just
like
super
Jesus. This
rude.
kid is terrible. And yeah, and Ruth comes in with Santa, and he's like, I've been pretty absent, and I think it's time that I take a much more what's it called, front
Active
active
role.
role in cleaning up kids. So if your grandma dies from unnatural reasons, or even if Christine Johnson even gets a cold because of you, the fat man is gonna come back and snatch you away from your bed. And at this point we can't see like his eye.
Right.
And then as he leans in closer to this kid, it's just like it's mangled.
Yeah. Because he walks in and he's got bandages over it. And then as they start to take the bandages off, you're only seeing profile,
Yeah.
not of the shot side.
But the kid sees it, he's like, look at me.
Yeah.
Terrified. This kid is crying. He's
Look me in the eyes
yeah.
when I'm talking to
No,
you.
he said, look me in the eye when I'm
Yeah.
talking to you. Man, and yeah, this kid, I'm pretty sure this kid shit himself.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Right? And he's like, you're gonna fix yourself while you can. And and then they go back to North Peak, Alaska,
Yep.
and Mrs. Kringle is making cookies for all the elves because they have to rebuild the blown up warehouse that the
Right.
skinny man had blown up. And she gives it to Seven. She's like, everybody take a 15. And yeah, and like Chris and Ruth have like this very sweet moment. He's like, hopefully like this approach will yield better results
Right. Yeah.
for the upcoming future. And then the movie ends. There was no post credit, right?
No.
I was kind of hoping
No.
there was because I wanted to see how this kid like kind of hopefully turned it around,
Right. That would
right?
have been nice, but yeah.
But no, the credits start rolling. All right, before we get to our last, before we get to our thoughts about the movie, let's get into our other section: high star, low star.
Uh, uh. Okay, so we got a 10 out of 10. I absolutely love this movie. My parents watched this movie with my siblings and I last week for family movie night. This is not only one of the best Christmas movies I've ever seen, but it may also be one of my favorite movies overall. Uh, the so-called critics who review this movie and have no idea what they're talking about when they straight up say that it wasn't a good movie. I will continue to recommend this movie to all my good friends because I know that they will enjoy it as much as I did. The critics didn't like this movie much because simply just don't know what dark humor is. Not only was the plot fascinating, but the storyline and simply everything about the movie was intriguing. 10 out of 10 would watch again, and 10 out of 10 would recommend. But honestly, these critics must be 70 years old and unable to comprehend what humor is or a good movie is. I wish everybody could see this movie and understand why I think so highly of it. And I almost forgot to mention the acting was amazing. To everyone who participated in the production of this movie, keep doing what you're doing. And the writers, I just wish I had the imagination like yours.
And I got a 1 out of 10. Junk on an Xmas cracker. This is truly the worst Xmas movie ever. It's rather X-messy than funny or even action worthy. It's not watch worthy. Do not watch with children. Just save yourself the 2 hours of no fun. The whole movie is just bad. Mel Gibson might be a great actor, but there was no chemistry between him and Ruth. There is not This is not Xmas fun, no Xmas action, and even worse, not Xmas toys, no Xmas bells on elves. I wouldn't say I agree with it wholeheartedly. There were some parts it felt a little slow,
Yeah, I could see that.
but I feel like as a whole it was a fine. I think it's like a fine movie. It's like if you want to put it in your rotation as just not like that not that sort of bland or just predictable Christmas movie. I think it's like a fun take on it.
Yeah, I really like how they try to make it a mix between realistic and the lore of Santa.
Yeah.
Um, so it wasn't like the hey, we live in on the South Pole and we have
North
magic
Pole.
elves, or North Pole, and we have flying deer and stuff. You know, they you saw the deer,
Yeah.
but they never explained anything, so you didn't see them flying. You don't know,
Yeah, you know they
um,
fly though.
right?
Yeah.
But it was like a gritty, realistic take on Santa, and the it addressed the money part, which it isn't like a typical thing.
Yeah.
I mean, unless it's like some movies do it as a very comical, like, oh, you can't afford it, so the bank is going to take over, and then we're going to streamline and outsource
Yeah.
all your toy making and fire all the elves, kind of silliness.
Yeah, but like in a world
Here it
that
was
knows. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
so like I was saying, here it was much more of a like a this is our factory, this is what we want to do, this is what we just want to make kids happy, but there is a cost to it,
Yeah.
and the bigger the world gets, the more expensive making
Yeah.
toys for everybody is.
I know, but like it's funny. Like I remember him mentioning we should have got copyright, like residuals. Look at them. They think I'm just
Yeah, we would have copyrighted ourselves. We could have got residuals for every time somebody used
Yeah,
us.
and Ruth is like, that's not us. And but like it's funny because it's like in a world where Santa and everyone knows Santa is real, you
Right.
as the government that's subsidizing them, you can't fire Santa.
Right. And then they even made that point. They're like, because like he's like, if you keep going this way, you're pretty soon, you're not gonna you're gonna have to close down, and we don't want that because your name and your image sells, $11 billion worth of toys every year. So
It
we
was
need you here.
it was like 90 billion
Get 90, but yeah,
worth. Like yeah, like so like it's like but then like they have like this old contract. So I feel like it's time for Santa to revise that contract.
right, yep,
And also like it's also saying something about like the state of at least America at that point, because it's like, why are all these kids fucking bad?
exactly, yeah.
Because man,
It's like, yeah, because they kind of made that joke. It's almost like I'm handing out more coal than I am presents.
yeah, and it's like it's funny because like I've seen all these like videos from like middle school teachers and high school teachers, and they're just talking about how much of a struggle it is because of like today's youth and like the access they have to so much technology that yeah, like it's much more difficult than when I was going to high school because the most we could do on our phone is just send text messages. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And like I certainly, it was, we had beepers in high school. Like we didn't even have phones.
Yeah. You have to be like, Jesus, where's a payphone when you need one?
Yep. Yep.
And so like yeah, I could definitely, and like I feel like there has been more child related crime in like the past 10 to 15 years than I remember growing up.
Right. Because it used to be like, I mean, there was mischievous kids, but it was like kids got bored in
Yeah.
the summer because there was no school. And after like 3 months of,
Like summer.
you know, summer, you're just like, well, what do we do now? Let's
Nah.
go. Oh,
Like, yeah, like like when once the school came around, everyone got active again, unless with the idle hands, right?
right. Yep.
Because everyone's like, like especially back then, you were like always like in a club or something, or you had tons of homework because you're like an honor roll, and we got kept busy, and then we didn't have like the access that we do with like the TikTok and the, all that stuff, all the short form entertainment that we have today,
Right.
and
Yeah. And not even like no streaming movies. Like we've talked about before. It was like, hey, you saw like one or two movies a week, and that was because your your folks took you down to Blockbuster to rent one.
and so yeah, like it's like it's funny. This movie feels like a little bit of a like a call out to like, hey, let's get the kids under control a little bit. Let's get them to stop
Like a good reflection of society.
today.
Yeah.
And, like it's fun. And also, I was like, you guys are charging Santa electricity while he's making all this free crap for the world, like for at least America.
Right. Right.
I thought it would have been funny if like there was like divisions. Like, oh, he's like Chris Kringle is like this Chris Kringle is the American, like North America for Canada and Mexico. And then
They didn't touch on that, and they didn't. Yeah, they didn't really show where he delivered or what.
yeah.
So who knows how there could be a sequel, and then we could find out
Fat Man 2.
more because they didn't really give any kind of why he had magical powers, kind of.
But I think I like that though. I like that they didn't really touch base on that. And oh, also made me think is like, is there an Easter bunny? Right? Is this set in the same world that Trick or Treat is set in? Oh man. But yeah, I thought this movie was a ton of fun. Like I wouldn't say one. I don't know if I'd say 10, but like around a 7 or 8. That's where I was like feeling like for this movie.
I feel like it definitely. I only watched it once, but it's definitely got some rewatchability. We are super early in December, so like Teresa didn't watch this with me, but
She's like, nope.
2 weeks from now, I'll make her watch it. It'd be like, oh, we're close to Christmas. Here's a little change.
Yeah. But yeah, we're coming up to we're coming up to the closing of the episode. Thank you guys for joining us. Make sure to check all of our other months. We have 4 different years of Christmas movies to definitely check out, and also all of our our first favorite holiday, the Halloween stuff is always going to be up there. But we have
Always
a ton of stuff for you guys. Definitely check those out. But we do our reviews in 4 different sections. We have streaming at DVD, Blu-ray, and the Ultimate Box Collection. Kobe, where are you at for this one?
I'd probably have to go Blu-ray. I'll definitely watch this again. This is definitely one of those ones that kind of I'll force on people. Uh, I feel like this really kind of fell through the cracks.
Yeah, any
because
COVID movie.
Right. It was like the feeling people had around COVID, they didn't want a dark comedy
Yeah.
uh, Christmas movie. They were like, please give us something uplifting and cheerful. This was
Yes. Please give us Elf 2 or something like that. Yeah.
jingle jangle,
Yeah.
like that kind of like is what people were
Wanting.
needing. And
Yeah.
so I feel like this kind of totally
Yeah.
went under the radar.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking as well. But yeah, thank you guys. And also, I would probably also go Blu-ray too. Like, I like Mel Gibson movies. I grew up on Lethal Weapon. And
And I know that he had a like a controversial little
Meltdown.
time period in his life, but that may have also been maybe something that was a little carryover 3 years ago,
Yeah.
and now it's far enough away that it's no longer in like actively in people's memory.
Minds. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, thank you guys for joining us. Make sure to check out links down below where we have all our social media.
Yeah, and we our Facebook, our Twitter, Instagram, uh, Threads, TikTok, YouTube. We're trying to be more active on all those things. We're certainly we'll be putting up Christmas recommendations all month. I've been making
For this.
drinks
Oh yeah.
like
Gotta check out Colby on TikTok with the
cocktails
drinks.
to go themed and inspired by the movies we're reviewing.
Right.
And so we have lots of Christmas ones. We'll go. Well, I'll do these, the ones that we're doing, and we'll go back a couple years and add
Oh
some
geez.
more Christmas movie drinks
I
in
feel
there.
like the recommendation for the drink is gonna be so sweet. It's gonna be a lot of triple sec and oh man, but yeah,
Peppermint
yeah.
schnapps.
All right, but yeah, thank you guys for joining us. My name is Barry. My name is Barry.
I
Oh,
think I lost you.
oh.
Can I hear it?
Thank you guys for joining us. My name is Barry. Colby,
I can't hear you.
hello. Hold on.
Cut off. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, I can't hear you.
All right, hold on.
But thank you guys for watching or listening.
All right, guys. Yeah, and if you guys, this is who watches this podcast. um, if you guys want to know who does our theme music, it is Lee Rosevere. It's called Arcade Montage. It's on our album Music Podcast 3, and her Bandcamp is down below.
Thank you.